Hi, it's Meryl Key and this is my mystery school. Here's your Astro Dice forecast for June 2023. If you want full Astro Geek info on the transits and the aspects for the month, it's all on my June What is Happening and Why Astrology vid. Let's get an overview of what's happening this month. The full moon's on June the 4th in Sagittarius, 13 degrees. And it's got a Jupiter flavour. Jupiter will be conjunct the North Node, making a big impression. The new moon is on June 18 in Gemini. Gemini new moons bring out new ideas, great conversations, and it's a busy time for setting up negotiations and agreements, working things out. Mercury starts off the month in Taurus. It moves into Gemini on the 12th, and it's racing towards Cancer, moving into Cancer on June 27. Venus is also in Cancer, moving into Leo at the beginning of the month, June the 5th, just after the full moon. Mars is in Leo, and it's chasing Venus, and it'll be doing that for the next few months. Pluto's retrograde in Aquarius, and it steps back into Capricorn on June 11. Saturn's in Pisces, and it turns retrograde with that new moon on June the 18th. The big one this month, and it's quite historic, Sedna moves into Gemini. Sedna is the Inuit goddess of the oceans. Her move into Gemini is a big shift in energy. I've got more on that in my What's Happening and Why video, so if you want to track down Sedna, check it out there. And if you haven't already, remember to click the like and the subscribe button. It helps my channel and I really appreciate your comments and your support. Thank you. Let's see what the dice has to say for all of the zodiac signs. Aries. Aries, from the 5th of June, Venus and Mars are going to be sending tons of charisma your way. And that'll pretty much be going on until October. There's relationship and money stuff you'll have to work out, but this will help you really find a path. Let's see what the dice has to say. Libra. Venus. First house. So this really is talking to that Venus and Mars chase. There's a sense here of you wanting to strip back what's been spare and sparse and Spartan and make life beautiful again. Treat yourself. While Venus and Mars are in Leo, they're really giving you a boost of your attractiveness, helping you understand relationships and also adjusting your own sense of independence and how you want to fit in and relate to others. You're normally the strong one in relationships, but over June, you're looking for more balance, where you can step back and enjoy yourself, and life isn't so hard and harsh. Venus is the ruler of Libra, really comfortable in that sign, and it's artistic and graceful and fair. It seeks equality and social pleasantness. And here in the first house, it makes you the centre of attention, without having to hog the spotlight or be a target. Because this so strongly relates to that Venus-Mars thing going on in Leo, that's trining your sign, meaning it's sending positive energy. So I see you having a much more lush and luxy and engaged time over the next few months. And this can be through friendships, through a new love interest, or even your relationship with yourself. It's a really lucky start for you. Taurus. Taurus, Jupiter and Uranus are in your sign, and this is big change, big ideas, ready to try something different. And there's been a kind of underground revolution going on for you. Let's see what the dice has to say. Pisces. North Node and the third house. The dice is pointing to those connections, the short trips, all the little loose ends that need to be tied up in a bunch. And with Pisces there, it's hard for you to focus and pay attention to the details. So somehow you have to balance that. The North Node there is putting a rush of energy through your communications. And with Pisces, it may be things you've missed or where you want to clear up foggy lines. It might be where you're ready to embark on a creative endeavour. For some of you, because the third house is about siblings, you may get news or information about a brother or sister. And with Pisces, there's a bit of a mystery about that. They may live far away or have lost connection. We might be going back because of the North Node, 9.5 years when the North Node was in its opposite place. And you might be retrieving information from that time. There's a sweetness and a feeling of moving forward with this. The North Node has been in your sign for about 18 months and it's about to move on into Aries. So June could be the time where you're really assessing how that lift and shift in your direction that the node brings has affected you over the last 1.5 years. What you've had to let go and where you've flourished. Gemini. Mercury's doing a quick visit for you between the 12th and the 27th of June. You've got a new moon in your sign on the 18th, bringing new light, a new cycle, and it's powered by Sedna, moving into your sign for the first time in 11,400 years. That's quite big. Let's see what the dice has to say. Jupiter, Gemini, and the 9th house. Okay, well, Jupiter's pretty happy in the 9th house. And Gemini, there's your sun right there. So the dice here are saying for you in June, there's going to be a growth and expansion of your philosophy, your belief systems, your knowledge, and even like your physical space. Moving from something small and compact to a much broader, vast, wider horizon. It feels lucky. It feels big. And the emphasis here isn't on financial gain or material possessions. It's on expanding your knowledge bank, your spirituality, your reach. It points to this new moon cycle opening up a whole broader view where what you've learnt comes out on show. To me, this dice is also funny. Good bouncing conversation, good banter, and a lot of buoyancy and optimism. So maybe you're going to laugh a lot in June, which would be awesome. It's also probably your birthday, so celebrate big. Cancer. Venus is in Cancer for the first week until June the 5th, and on June 11, Pluto goes back into Capricorn opposite your sign. So there's unfinished business, maybe with a partner or a boss or legal issues that get a revisit. You're nearly done. Let's see what the dice has to say. Got Cancer, the North Node, and the 9th house. Cancer, this puts June in the spotlight of learning and growing and expanding. Something you've been developing maybe for many years is getting a big burst of attention. There's some peak experience that's going on in your knowledge base or ideas that you're putting out. Perhaps it's study you've been doing that's finally coming to an end and a crescendo. For some of you, you might be thrust out into the spotlight, maybe doing public speaking or having to do a presentation. And it's a bit nerve-wracking for you because you're really putting yourself on the line here and presenting. Because you've got Venus in your sign the first week, that might be a time that you're feeling more available, more accessible, more easy about this task or this role. But once Pluto moves back opposite your sign from June 11, you kind of have to face the music with this. Cancer is also about your children, your mother, your home, your family. So for some of you, you might be seeing a change or a shift in the landscape, or even for some reason having to be separated from your family or moving far away from your family home or family of origin. It's a peak experience for you, Cancer. It's time to put your best on show. Leo. Venus is in your sign from June the 5th right through to early October. This is an extended stay because Venus is also moving retrograde in Leo, and you'll be going over your relationships, questioning why you're doing it, what you're there for, and ultimately making an adjustment where an adjustment needs to happen. The shadow period of that retrograde phase starts on June the 19th. So that isn't a good time to be signing new contracts or even starting new relationships. Best to sit back and watch what happens. Let's see what the dice has to say. Leo. Venus. Pisces. And the 4th house. Well, we know Venus is going to be dominating your life for the next few months, Leo. And Pisces in the 4th house brings the attention home to your family and to the place in your heart where you find emotional safety. Venus in Pisces is exalted. It loves this place. It's full of goodwill and gentleness and loveliness. So I think your journey of Venus moving through your sign and going retrograde will look at softening any hard exterior, bringing out a more unconditional space. Some of you might be spending a bit of money on a splurge at home or having to fix up something where your money's been draining and dribbling out. It looks like Venus is really going to boost you, and this is a time when it brings out your best. When Leo is generous and funny, playful and creative, and fluffy around the edges. You'll be going right down into the heart and the core of your own self-worth and how much you can give. If you've been a grumpy lion, this one lets you be Nurse Fluffy for a bit. It's really sweet. Virgo. Virgo, Saturn is in Pisces, opposite your sign and retrograde from that new moon on the 18th. This puts a bit of a sticky spot in you, a bit of a revisit, or foundations get a bit unsettled and need a bit of an adjustment. So let's see what the dice has to say. We've got Virgo, 3rd house. Oops, that was the 3rd house. And the South Node. Virgo, your ruler, Mercury, is also the ruler of the 3rd house. So we've got a kind of compatibility here. And it really is pulling you down into the details you might have missed. It's like a wake-up call. If you've been waiting on information or didn't realise that bits were missing, this is the time you start to pick up those bits. The South Node kind of pulls you back into it contracts you into a smaller space. It casts out what needs to be purged, and it brings up the past in order to do that. So this does look like you're going to be going back and reorganising things that you thought were in place. The 3rd house is also to do with your local neighbourhood, your local streets, your connections, your mindset, and your siblings. Some of you might find you travelling back to your old neighbourhoods, retracing steps, clearing out what doesn't work and separating the wood from the trees. There's a kind of a time warp here where you, even deja vu, where you're seeing or hearing or thinking things that hadn't made sense before, but now you can kind of see a pattern. Virgos love patterns. So this is good. Libra. The Gemini new moon and Sedna moving into Gemini gives you a rush of inspiration, a new direction, new curiosity, and maybe even several paths opening up at once, and not all of them will take you where you want to go. Let's see what the dice has to say. Cancer. Jupiter. And the 6th house. Libra, this looks like where you've been a bit shut down and stuck in a comfort zone is going to be stretched and pushed and expanded. Jupiter is lucky, but its favourite places aren't the 6th house or Cancer. So some of this expansion may not be to your convenience or to your liking, but there's something you'll have to address anyway. It might be about your role as a caretaker or a caregiver, and maybe you have to start looking after more people. It might be that the self-care you need really needs your attention and a bit of a push. The sixth house rules health, your daily practice, your pets, and also your daily work. Jupiter wants to expand, but Cancer wants to hold space. So there's a bit of a conflict about getting the time out you need and the retreat, and the needs of the outside world, or even addressing health matters that you've let slip by. And maybe now the problem's got big enough for you to really want to address it. The key for you in June is self-care and finding that emotional safety. If you've got some big personalities around you at work or in your daily life, you might be looking at them to step up and do more to support you. Or it might be that Jupiter is giving you a boost or recognition in some way at work. This could be a bonus coming through or extra staff coming on board. For some of you, it'll mean working from home and how you have to adjust that. So Librans, the dice is giving you the way to find the balance. Find the emotional safety you need and build up good boundaries around it. Scorpio. Scorpio, the South Node has been in your sign for about 18 months, clearing out a path, purging, and helping you see and set bigger goals, a stronger foundation. Let's see what the dice has to say. Cancer. What a spinner. 11. And the moon. Okay, we've got a bit of a match here, Scorpio. The moon is the ruler of Cancer, and Cancer is very compatible with your sign, both being water signs. In the 11th house, it puts you out into groups of other people, like-minded, social media, community things, and even into the world of technology. But you're a bit shy about technology in this one. Moon in Cancer wants to find its way home, but the 11th house is pushing you way out into the broader world. There's a strong emphasis on mother here and mothering. And for some of you, that won't be about your biological mother, but more like an archetypal mother or a foster mother, a non-blood mother, someone from your wide, broad, extended star family. In fact, Scorpio, this does look a lot like you finding your people and finding your family amongst a much broader group of people. There's a lot of strength in this for you to be able to deliver a kind of loving, nurturing message. And for some of you, that might be literally delivering food out to your broader community or getting involved in a community garden. If you've been lost out in a big, wide group, you might find a real connection with someone there, someone who just gets you, who understands you. Sagittarius. The full moon on June the 4th is in your sign, and Sagittarius love their full moons. It's bright and buoyant and bubbly and show-offy, and I think you'll have a blast. Venus is in your fellow fire sign of Leo until October, and you'll also be getting that blast of charisma and attractiveness. So your full Sag flirt is going to be on. Let's see what the dice has to say. Got Leo, Mars, and the second house. This makes you really competitive about what you want and how you get it. You've got oodles of energy. Mars in Leo is a bit bossy, and in the second house it can be a bit stubborn as well. The second house puts that focus on resources and possessions, but Mars gives you so much energy to have it. So if you want something, you're really going to go for it in June. This could also mean a bit of a splurge rather than an investment. And I suppose there's a bit of a warning here about overheating, high blood pressure, or even being a bit accident prone and reckless. So take care of that, but the rest looks good, Sag. Capricorn. Pluto is retrograde, moving back into your sign on June the 11th. And this means you'll be going over things, digging up old pieces, and wondering what you've really got to finalise and let go. Let's see what the dice has to say. Capricorn. North Node. And the first house. Capricorn, this puts where you are in relationships and you're wanting something to change. You're willing to try something different, try something new, and there's some fated experience or fated event that's really launching you into a more independent space, separate from your relationships. There's a sense here that you're really going to have to draw deep. Capricorn isn't really a risk taker. It's not quite a risk. It's something compelling you to step out of a routine and open yourself to new things. The first house looks at your appearance, your basic nature, and also like your constitution, your health, your strength. And Capricorns are very strong. There's a peak experience coming up here that's calling on you to draw on that strength and really stand true and in integrity. If you've had relationships that seem to put a cloud over you or block you down, June, you're ready to experiment and adventure. Test out the waters while Pluto's going back in your sign to give you a glimpse of what you want to let go of. There's not much here to stop you. It's like you've made up your mind. So all I can say, go for it, Caps. Aquarius. Pluto is retrograde right at the threshold between Aquarius and Capricorn, back into Cap on June 11. Later in the year, it's going to come back into Aquarius, do a jiggle, zip off, come back. So you're also going through this shake-up on a really fundamental level. Let's see what the dice has to say. I've got Pluto, the fifth house, and Capricorn. Well, that's interesting because Capricorn and Pluto are doing a little dance in June. The fifth house is your place of self-expression, of your children, your creativity, and it's also the house of fun. Romance, short-term crushes, short-term hookups, that sort of thing goes on in the fifth. If you've been having fun with someone and it's not really going anywhere, June is when you put a line through it. There might have been something that you've been doing that was fun that's kind of run its course, or it's become way too much responsibility and way too complicated when it should have been light and easy and breezy. June looks like the time where you have to take some leadership and let go of what's not working for you, change it in some way, reinvent, regenerate. Until Pluto comes fully back into your sign at the end of 2024, you've got time to make adjustments and really finalise these things that leave you feeling unsupported or unfun. And there may even be a sense of betrayal in this, a sense of feeling disrespected. But fifth house, find a way to express it, and if it doesn't line up, then let it go. Pisces. Saturn's in Pisces, putting pressure on your responsibilities and making you have to buckle up and be tough. On the 18th, with the new moon, Saturn's moving retrograde. And it can make you feel a little bit out of control, like things that you thought were sorted weren't really sorted at all. So use this time to slow down and check in on your details. Let's see what the dice has to say. Third house. North Node. Pisces. Pisces, this puts you in the place of having to speak and communicate very clearly what your needs are. And there's a rush of energy coming through where things from the past are really affecting what's going on now. There might be patterns re-emerging. There might be old connections that suddenly bloom into a new connection. There might be a chance meeting that happens with the way you learn, with the way you're thinking. Something's clicking in. It might be that what was sort of wild and nebulous is now forging a path, and maybe you've collaborated with others to bring that into line. This is about problem solving, and I think you nail something over June because the North Node brings a peak experience. It brings an expansion and a moving towards. Because your sun sign is in Pisces, we know this is speaking directly to you. And I feel in some way there's collaboration that really pulls you into a new vision, a new bunch of connections, and even at a higher level than what you were expecting. In some way, your communication, Pisces, over June comes out in non-verbal ways. The signals that someone else is sending. You're going to be very receptive and sensitive. So open your eyes to this kind of destiny connections and communications in June. Remember, if you want more astro detail, check out my What is Happening and Why videos. Thanks for your likes, shares, comments and subscribes. Find me on Instagram at my_mystery school or on my website www.merylkey.com. Thanks for watching.